So Ron, you're telling us about bust shaping when just adding short rows may not be the whole solution. How about
Right.
picking that up?
Because short rows, of course, add length to the front, but for people, especially people with larger cup sizes, it's not just a matter of needing extra length. You also need some width. And we were talking about two different places you could put that extra width. I just had to consent to being recorded. I hope I was being recorded while I was doing that. I didn't click the button. You could put them here, which will create a sort of angular line in the front, or you could space them evenly across the front, about 4 increases, or do a compromise, an increase here and an increase here, for example, close to the edge, but not right on it, like right here and right here, until you get the extra width that you'd like, which you can calculate by measuring your upper bust, which should be the chest circumference you put into the Phrancko machine,
Mm-hmm.
and then measuring your full bust and doing a little bit of algebra.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just remember when you add 4 stitches, you're probably knitting at 4 or 5 or 6 stitches per inch. That's what most patterns are. Usually it's 5 or 6, I would think, unless you're using fingering weight. But if you're using DK or worsted, it's going to probably be 4 or 5 stitches. So adding 4 stitches is going to add an inch to the circumference. So
Okay.
that's a pretty significant amount.
full cup size.
Yeah.
So depending on your cup size, you may need only 1 or 2
Mm-hmm.
shaping rows, or you may need 5. I don't see you from here down, so but like when I make garments for my mother, she wears a G cup.
Uh-huh.
I got to do shaping. So, but it depends. And the short row solution does tend to work perfectly well for slim people and people with small cup sizes, who may or may not be slim, because it's just a little bit of extra.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough give in knitted fabric to cover the extra horizontal width. But for people with large busts, large cup sizes, just using short rows is, as they say, solving a width problem with length. And some people need both. Amy Herzog has an article on her blog that I am going to link to in the chat.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
For those of you who are watching this later, Amy Herzog has an article titled "Why You Probably Don't Need Short Rows." I will editorialize and say you may need both, or short rows may work just fine for you. But that she gives a better discussion than I can give in this context. That might be helpful to read. And the link is right there.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, my. It's amyherzogdesigns.com 2013/07/12. I forgot the first slash after com. com/201/0/7/12/FF-Y-U-don't-need-short-rows/. That's for the people who can't see what you typed in chat.
But a
Later.
good title.
So replay that over and over if you're watching on YouTube until you get it right.
I guess you could put it in the YouTube description, right?
I could. Yes, you're right. I'll have to remember it myself.
Yeah, this picture, the picture of her in her blog, that happens to me all the time in my sweaters, the ones that I buy in the store.
Oh, yeah.
That's
What the picture is that she's wearing a sweater. That
the
fits
second picture. The second picture, the side view.
front of it is
The front comes up.
which is why you would add a little extra length. But when knit fabric stretches this way, it contracts. This
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank
That's
you.
really
This will
helpful, Ron.
be
Thank you.
helpful. Yes.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah,
talk about one more thing that I'll put in the chat right now?
sure.
My Wisteria Woodlands tunic is live on Ravelry. The child
Oh,
tunic,
Oh,
it is live and it is available now. And I will link to it here, and I'll put a link to it in the Phrancko group if I remember. I will remember. But
yes.
I've created a coupon code just for the people who attend these meetings. So
And how did they get that?
I will tell you. So the pattern,
Remember, this is recorded, so everybody who watches it might hear what you say.
yeah, if they watch it, they can use it because not everyone can be here live. But the
Okay.
coupon will stop working in 2 weeks from today.
Okay,
So
good.
that gives everyone plenty of time to use it, but not until infinity. So the pattern is normally $6.50 and it's $2.50 off with the code Phrancko Zoom. All one word, all caps for people who attend these meetings, because you've all been with me the entire way. We were working on designing that thing and getting it up. So I'll put a link to it in the
And if you
chat.
haven't seen the pictures of the one that
Cute.
Cindy knitted, it is the cutest thing you've ever seen. Her
And if
granddaughter
you, yeah,
just,
if you
it's
get the
just,
pattern right now, you can have it done in 2 weeks.
That's
I mean, it's like I did it in 12 days.
cute.
Of course, I only did a 4T. She's little.
How do I get to my pattern? Come on,
I
Ronald.
haven't said hi to Demetria, who came in a little bit later. Several of us were late, Demetria, but I wanted to say hi.
Hello. Sorry, I'm hiding because you're
That's quite all
recording.
right. It's being recorded, yes.
Yes, yes. So I'm
So
hiding. But
that's
hi,
okay.
y'all.
I just wanted to say hello.
Hello.
All right. So for those of you who are live here now, I've put a link in the chat. It's the Wisteria Woods tunic. If you are not live now, you can find it on Ravelry, either as my designer name, Ron Warren. I'm Warlock Warren on Ravelry. Or you can look up Wisteria Woods tunic in the pattern. You will see an adorable picture of Cindy's knitting and her descendants. So
I think she looks like me. I take all the credit.
And Ron, tell them what sizes it's published in.
it is published from a 2T through a 6T. So it is a small child's garment from a 2T to a 6T. And it, as I say, you can use a coupon code. I can't spell Phrancko in all caps because it looks weird to me and I second guess myself.
Yes.
And you can use the coupon code Phrancko Zoom, all caps, when you check out, and you will get it for only $4 as a thank you to all of you for listening to me talk about
And
it.
I have to ask you to say what technique you used in the pattern.
Oh yes, the reason that I'm sharing this here, this isn't shameless self-promotion. This is shameless self and other promotion.
Mo, my question is shameless promotion, self-promotion. So go ahead.
Phrancko construction. It uses Phrancko's seamless set-in sleeves. And it's a small, low commitment time project if you just want to experience making it for the first time or seeing how you might put in stitch patterns for yourself. You can see how I've done that in this pattern. But the construction is pure Phrancko. All the sizes were sizes that he actually generated sort of straight from the box with minimal interference from me design-wise until you get to the finishings. So it is a Phrancko pattern, and there's an explanation of that in the pattern and links to it and some diagrams of that I've made of how it's constructed, some links to Phrancko's work about it. So yeah, it's not just any old sweater. It is a Phrancko.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied. You can stop.
So I would
Pay him later for that, are you?
if you would share that around. I'm sure Frank would love it if you would share that around because it talks a lot about him in the pattern. I would
Yes.
prefer if you did not let people who are not in the Zoom meeting know about the coupon code. That's for us here. And you have until the 21st, should you decide to get it, to use August 21st of 2021, to use that code if you want to get it for yourself. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Jenny. I
super
don't
cute.
remember seeing you in the meeting before. Have you been here before? Or is this your first
No,
time?
I'm in the UK, so it's late at night here, and I
Oh.
normally catch up on when you post them on YouTube. So
I
it's
see.
currently just gone 11 o'clock at night.
Oh,
So
well,
I'm-
thank
I'm
you
not
for
normally
joining
awake.
us.
Yes.
It's wonderful to hear you and see you. Thank you. And
okay.
I'm guessing you're working on a Phrancko sweater.
Yes, I'm past the. Hang on, I shall hold it up in a minute. Turn it
Yes.
round.
Let me spotlight you so we can
Yep.
see what you hold up.
Oops.
Ooh, very
Oh,
nice.
my, you're doing the
So I'm
V-neck.
down to it's a pack of a gradient mini
Mhm.
skins. So I'm working the sleeves and the body at the same time because I have to keep measuring off bits as I go along. So you can see the color changes on this one better.
It's beautiful.
All right.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, that is gorgeous. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that.
So this is my first one, so I'm really pleased.
Good.
So is
Did you
that for
learn
you,
this-
Jenny?
It is for
Oh.
me, yes.
Yay!
And have you tried it on?
Yes, yeah. So I went for 4 inches of ease because I wanted it loose, and I
Yes.
didn't want on my first one to have to try and do bust shaping. So if I do another one, I will make it with 2 inches of ease, but then I'll have to figure quite a bit of bust shaping. And I didn't
see.
want to. There was enough
Uh-huh.
complications going on without doing that. So
Yes.
I wanted to
And
make it as easy as possible for the first one.
and you chose the V-neck pattern, which is
Yes.
the easiest pattern. The only one that's easy is the simple crew neck pattern. And it doesn't do shoulder shaping and neck shaping at the same time. But so many people have asked for me to deepen the neckline that I'm about to release this new release that will have a 3.5-inch deep neck from the top of the shoulder or a 5-inch deep neckline. And both of those will work like the V-neck where you have to do shoulder shaping and neckline shaping at the same time. But I appreciate that you chose the challenge of a V-neck sweater as your first one. I'm glad it worked for you.
Yes. No, that bit was fine. So I've done sweaters before, but not set-in sleeve one. So the only ones I've done before are the raglan ones, and they don't suit my body shape. So I kind of gave up knitting sweaters because they don't flatter me. But this one, the shape is much with the set-in sleeves is a much more flattering shape for me.
Wonderful.
And I've tried it on, so I'm just below the bust at the moment, and it's fitting nicely.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad to hear it. Rana, I see your hand up.
Yes, a couple of questions. Jenny, you just showed something that I had a question about, and I'm sure a lot of you can comment on it. You're using a gradient yarn.
That's
And
correct. Yes, it's mini skeins. So there's 25 little 20 grand skeins, and they change color on the way down.
oh, that's how you're doing it. Okay, because I
Oh.
know there's a lot of different gradients that some are long gradients, some are short, and I would love to do, I think, a gradient, but I wouldn't know which to choose.
So
Jenny?
this one was an advent calendar
Ah,
kit.
yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Jenny, how did you do the if you're doing like 25 gram, of how do you do the shoulders? Because it's not, are they two different colors? Are they just close to one another or what?
You can see the on the back, the color change on the shoulder is quite on the back is quite abrupt. So there's a bit more on the back, but it's still the same color at the top of the shoulder, but then it starts to change as it goes down quite a lot. So, the first 25 grams got me to about there before the V-neck joins.
Okay.
So do you just change colors and knit when you run out of yarn because they're small?
So what you have to do is every time you come to a change of color, you have to work out how many stitches are on the body, how many stitches are on the arms, and what percentage of your wool you need for which. So you need to weigh it. And then I'm currently running at around 46% of the weight of the skein for the arms and 54% for the body. But as you decrease on the arm, that changes. So you have to keep weighing and counting your stitches each time and just do a bit of maths to see how much you need to wind off for the body and then keep the rest for the arms.
Good gravy.
Good Lord.
A bit of math.
Well, you use a calculator.
Wow.
Now I'm going to have
That
to
is
watch the
just
video
gorgeous.
to see what you all just said. My husband got a phone call right next to me, so I had to deal with that. So were we having an interesting discussion, it sounds like?
Yeah, it's very confusing, actually. A lot of math.
Uh-oh.
Jenny was explaining how she was using it was an advent calendar, 25 mini skeins, and how
Right.
then after she used the first one, how she figured out, she counted the number of stitches for the body and then the number of stitches for the arms, and then did math to figure out so that she could apportion her different skeins so that she'd have the same amount of yarn for each section that she needed.
I see. And who was asked? Oh, was it Rana asking about doing a set-in gradient?
Gradient. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, Rana asked about gradient.
And because Jenny is using a gradient right now, the timing was great. Although it sounds like a lot more work than if you use mini skeins.
See.
So
I've done
a gradient with the ones that have the 4 or 6 strands of cotton that change color every so often. I've done a t-shirt with one of those, and that's even worse if you want the sleeves to match the body, because when you split and you get to a color change, you don't know how long the color changes be. So you've literally got to unwind all the yarn to the next color change and then weigh that and then do exactly the same again. And that takes twice as long to do. And I wouldn't do that again.
No.
If
Let
I
me-
can find
let me
a
show mine.
picture, I have done a gradient pattern, and I'll show you how I solved the problem if I can find it.
You have no sleeves at all.
No, he did sleeves. It's really quite
Yes.
cool.
And I'm still looking. Hold on.
Yes, you could do
What
a
was-
gradient
what was that
vest, right?
called? What was that called? It wasn't the.
Well, the black and white and gray one was actually a gradient where you
Yeah,
use several different
that was not
yarns,
a
but
true
that wasn't it.
gradient.
That's
That
not the true gradient. That's not the
No,
one
that
you're
was a
talking
mock
about.
gradient. Yes,
That one was like a fade.
that's right.
Yes.
It was a fake. It was made of 3 different colors that were blended together to make them look like a gradient. dueling gradients. That's what I called it. Now, where are the pictures? Oh, I don't have any pictures. No, not there. There it is. All right, let me share this with you. Everybody got so quiet.
We're knitting, we're knitting. Mary, are you knitting?
No,
Dang
That's
it.
the wrong picture.
No, that's the right picture.
You see this? You see a?
It's kind
Was
of
that a picture of the
burgundy,
sweater? Yeah.
but the
Oh,
light top was
Oh, let
on
me-
top and the bottom
let me
was
try
darker.
again.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's
It's
it.
funny. I see a different picture, but if that's the right one, then you're seeing it, I guess.
Well, it's kind of, it's a lighter, a little more oatmeal on the top and then goes down and then has the darker color around the chest and just after the sleeves were separated.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So did you do that by steeking then?
No.
No?
Oh, there it is. Okay. So what I did, I had multiple skeins of gradients that changed color from the beginning to the end. They were long gradients. They just changed one time from the beginning to the end of the entire skein. And I had at least 3 of those, if not 4, to begin with. So I used the same light ends of the skein to start the shoulders of the sweater. So I had to use 2 different skeins, both starting at the light end. And then I worked the light end all the way down to the separation of the shoulders from the body. At that point, when I continued the body, I switched what I was using to the dark end. And I knit in the round in the dark end. And as you see down the body, it starts dark. And as I continued down, it turned into light.
so Frank, how do you go from having 2 light color skeins to one? Do you have to cut the light color from one of the skeins so that you could continue?
I used 2 different skeins.
Right, and you did
Yes.
2 different shoulders, but then,
Yes.
I mean, then you had to
Well,
cut one and keep going in the round.
Yes, that's right. So one is cut. And I used that one, the one that I cut, I used on the sleeve because it doesn't use up the whole skein.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I
And
thought
then
maybe
I
you
used
had
a full
continued.
skein, starting at the dark end, I used the full skein across the chest and knitted down the body.
I'm
And
impressed.
then I
This
started
looks
over at the sleeves with the dark end of the other skeins that had not been knitted from the dark end and knitted the sleeves down. And so they don't change color as fast. So it's not a total match, but at least where they change colors, it's a match. Now, the
It
only
looks
other thing I
awesome.
should say about this sweater is it's actually 2 different gradient yarns held together. In other words, I'm knitting
Oh.
2 yarns at a time with each stitch. And so I had 2 different gradient yarns. I have another sweater that's not this color. I don't have a picture of it though, unfortunately. But I did it twice because the first time I did not do what I did here, which was get 2 gradients, both of which went from light to dark. They just did it differently. And they both started with this light beige color. That's why the top of the shoulders is totally light beige. And then one starts changing color and then the other starts changing color. And that's how the gradient is formed. And that could be done with any Phrancko sweater, of course. But this is published in Cast On magazine. And it is the winter 2021 issue. So that's my story about gradient yarns, except there is another one called the Gradient. There's a hyphen in it, Gradient sweater. And that was published earlier. I've been fascinated with gradient yarns for a long time, and I've been trying to figure out how to use one to knit a sweater. And I did not want a sweater that had the body one color and then each sleeve a different color, and you know the problem you would get if you were just using a long gradient to do all those 3 different sections. And so that's how I figured out to do it, that made it a design.
There are some dyers out there that will do three balls of the same gradient, one larger for the body and 2 smaller ones for the arms. I've not tried any of them, but there are some dyers out there that do that specifically for people who want.
I did meet a dyer who would match any color. At one point I thought, well, I will do a gradient all the way down the body, and then I'll just, wherever the sleeve starts, I'll take that color and do the whole sleeve that color. And she said she would dye yarns. I would just have to tell her where the color change was. So it got too complicated. I didn't know where the color change would happen. But I did think of doing 2 solid colored sleeves with a gradient body that way. I love gradients, partly because you don't have to do any work to get the design. You just knit the plain sweater.
So I want to show
it
my
keeps it
sweater.
Interesting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Who said that?
It's Sidra. Mhm.
Oh, great. Let me put you on spotlight so everyone can see.
So
Oh, look at
Oh, that's so
that.
beautiful.
Oh, my.
Oh, that's
Oh, very, very nice.
lovely.
And
so now
you
I'm in the
are...
process. I have about an inch to go before I figure out how to do the pocket.
Oh, wait, don't take it off. I wanted to see how the top looked when you pull the corners around. Did you use the V-neck sweater or the
Henley.
Henley? Oh, you used
Yeah.
the Henley, and then you just didn't close it up. Yes.
Right.
And so you'll knit bands to cover that gap.
Right.
That's perfect. That's great.
It's very
So
nice.
hopefully it fits my daughter. She's bigger in the bust than I am.
I see.
What do you?
And the shoulders look better after it's steamed.
Right.
They get kind of puckered up there, but they always look better after they're steamed.
So it's got to
Thank
go
you,
in
Sidra.
timeout for a little bit. So
Anybody else have something to share?
Pocket or, oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. What'd
I
you
was
ask,
just
Ron?
asking about her pocket. Her pocket.
Oh,
plan.
what kind of pocket are you putting on?
I guess it's just a placket pocket that goes like that because I was going to have a the mosaic going around the pocket, but I'm waiting for Suzanne to do her demo on her samples. Oops.
So am I.
Yeah.
I'd love to design a sweater with pockets in it. And I know how to make one pocket, but she does another one with a slanted top pocket.
Right. And I've got that one. I got all that information on that, but I can't do the slanted, which is what I'd like to do with the mosaic because it just won't flow.
Did she already publish a pattern to do that slanted pocket?
No, she says she's doing a presentation in Vancouver.
Oh, that's right.
I think next week or something like that. And then
Right.
she's going to do it after that.
Yes.
I think some of her existing cardigan tutorials include it.
Well, because the one that she has with a slant is from the bottom up.
Oh,
And I understand that. So I'm gonna swatch the next week or so and figure out.
I
to
think
do it.
the iTag Raglan has those pockets, and if I recall,
Oh, that's right. It's a, yeah.
a top-down sweater.
That's right. So look at that one again.
Bradley, how is your sweater coming?
Oh, really well. I was just telling Ron earlier, I separated the sleeves from the body today.
Oh, wonderful.
And yeah, I did a few rounds on the body and then tried it on, and that's when I noticed it
I
was a bit
see.
big.
So are you gonna rip it out to do body shaping that we were talking about earlier? Or are you just gonna live with it? Well, it's a oversized anyway, so.
It is. First, Ron had a good idea of going ahead and knitting a few rounds on the sleeves
Uh-huh.
to see
To
how that
see-
really is going to fit
Right,
underneath,
right.
because it just seems way too big.
Oh,
Um,
that's too much, too bad.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that first. And then if it is too big, then I'll know that I need to, undo back.
Uh-huh.
So.
It may require putting in a smaller upper arm circumference to make the sleeve smaller.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did the roomy fit, and I probably
Yeah.
should have done the standard fit.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm thinking. A standard fit with then adding some bust shaping is probably.
Something that's gonna work a little better.
But
Which
the
one is
shoulders and
roomy?
the
Is that
neck
the
look
4
really
inch?
good.
Is
Mhm.
the roomy fit, is that the 4 inch?
Mhm.
Oh, it's not oversized. Oh, that shouldn't be too much. I do all of mine roomy. So, huh. It- that's
I think, well, let me get my schematic. I think the sleeves said they would be like 17 inches around. Something like that. It
so.
was quite big.
Oh, you put in 13-inch arms and then 4 inches of ease is 17.
Mhm. Or
Yeah,
either
that's-
I'm not knitting to gauge. That's a possibility too.
Oh. Well, you can measure that on the sweater as you've already knitted it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it won't be blocked, but you can find out if you're close. Just measure on the sweater.
Huh?
Just measure on the sweater and do your calculation of the stitches on the sweater and compare that to the gauge in your pattern.
Mm-hmm. So a few things to try.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your courage to try different things and make this work.
Oh, it's turning out really cute. So
Good.
I'm excited I'll stick with it. It'll
Good.
turn out.
Rana, your hand's still up. Did you have another thing you wanted to say?
Yes, on my pattern, I ordered the standard, the neck size, and the neck size, all in
Okay.
the one pattern. And I did the first one. And as far as the armhole depth and the arm around, it fits great. If I wanted to go up to the little more roomy one, the arm depth and the sleeve around the arm would be too big.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
It's pretty much along the same lines as she was talking about.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The ease goes up in the chest and the arm at the same amount. If the point of doing the roomier one was not to allow for larger bust. It was to actually make a looser fitting sweater all over. And so all of the circumferences go up, as you saw in your schematic. I'm afraid you'd have to get another pattern and say your arm was less and get the roomier chest size if you don't want the arms to be larger.
Okay. Thank you. How does one email you?
Frank@Phrancko.com.
Oh, that's what I did email you. And
You
you
did?
said you never got it.
I didn't get it. Oh dear.
In fact, I sent you 2 emails. And so I guess I did something wrong. I don't know.
Well, that's disturbing to me. I check
I'll
it
try
all the
again. You
time.
can let me know if you get it.
I'm not going to ask your email because I don't want you to tell the world in the recording. But maybe if you put it in chat, I can email you and you'll see if you get it and see if you can reply.
Okay, don't you have my email address on my pattern?
Oh, but I'd have to look it up. Just
Oh,
put it in chat if you don't mind.
okay.
So, yeah, earlier I was busy, but I heard that, what's his name? Ron was giving away a pattern, but I missed the whole conversation. Can you repeat that?
I'm who's speaking? Oh, Demetria? Is that
Yes.
Demetria? Oh, I
Yes.
couldn't tell who was speaking because
Yes, you can see my lips, can you?
yes. Look in the chat
Yeah,
and the second link in the chat is to the Wisteria Woods Tunic.
okay.
And that is
That's the pattern. Okay.
that's the pattern that Ron was talking about. It's a child's sweater pattern, and there are pictures of it in the Ravelry forum on Phrancko because Cindy has knitted it and posted a picture of the
Yeah,
cutest
it's
little girl
really
wearing
cute.
Thank
It's
you.
adorable. Very nice. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I was, I was in the middle of something else and I missed
Oh,
most
no
of the conversation.
problem.
So thank you very much.
Okay, Rana, I sent you an email
Okay.
and I see it is now 6:30 on the East Coast, which means it's 3:30 Pacific
Wow.
time. So we've had our hour. Though it was a
Thank
little
you for
short for some
taking
of
the
us.
time.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. I'll also be still on vacation next week. We're doing a lot of traveling now that we are able to, and we're just hoping that the new variant, Delta variant, doesn't put an end to that. But we're trying to take advantage of it. We love to travel, and we haven't traveled for over a year.
That's great.
So that's why I'm on vacation all the time, it seems like. I am retired, you know. Even my husband has to keep reminding me, Frank, you're retired. You're working full time. Why are you working full time? Well, I didn't know I was going to end one career and start a new one.
A fun
Well,
one.
anyway,
Yeah.
it's a very fun one. And I just love spending time with you all every week. So thank you for coming back. And I look forward to
Thank you,
seeing you
Frank.
again next
Okay.
week.
Thanks, Frank.
Bye,
Thank you.
Frank. See you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mary.
Bye, Cindy.